This is a video of a knife that I picked up at the Timoan motorcycle show back in February. And I bought it from a vendor who told me that it was a Microtech knife, Combat Trandune. And what he told me when I bought the knife was that it was a late model and that newer models were coming out. And so when I asked him how much it cost, he said all his knives started at $180 and went up from there. And I was kind of amazed because I knew Microtech knives started at $300 or $400 or $500 and went up over $1,000. So I couldn't believe that this guy was selling Microtech knives for $100 and $180. So I took a look at it. This was a very unique knife. I had never seen a knife like this before, and never seen a Microtech knife. Usually Microtech knives have the switch or the actuator here on the side. This one has it here, which was very unique. This is a rubberized finish. It's got the Microtech Combat Trandune clip. It has the glass breaker, like a typical Microtech knife. But it has the switch here. And you can see the knife blade itself looks like a Microtech knife. So he told me it was a late model, and that's why he was selling it for so cheap. And I looked at his knives, and this was probably the most unique one that I saw that he had. Rubberized finish, the button, the actuator here, and a Microtech blade, and a Microtech clip. So I went ahead and bought it for $180, not knowing any better. And I get it home, and amazed at this type of knife that I've never seen before. I've never seen anything like this before. And I go online and look it up. What I realize is that the guy had lied to me. It isn't an earlier model. It's actually probably a Chinese clone of a Microtech knife. But this isn't a clone of a Microtech knife. This is something different. This is an amalgam of two different knives. So Microtech knives have this switch here, right? So this is not a body for a Microtech knife. This is a clip for a Microtech knife and a glass breaker. And this is a copy of the blade style of a Microtech knife. But this is not a Microtech knife. In fact, in researching it, what I realized is the handle is similar to a Benchmade handle. And the actuator, Benchmade, this is basically a Benchmade actuator here. And this is typically a Benchmade body. So this is a Chinese clone, but a weird clone in that it takes pieces from a Microtech knife and a Benchmade knife and puts them together into this type of knife blade. So I think this is pretty unique. I've never seen anything like this before, and even going online, it's tough to find anything that's even similar to this. The problem with this knife, and I would be willing to spend $180 if this was a good blade, but if you can hear, there's play in this blade, and it goes back and forth this way, and there's a little bit of play this way, and so it's a pretty loose blade. And when you're cutting things, I mean, it's a very sharp blade. But there's a bit of play in here. So if you're just opening an envelope like this, it's probably fine. If you're using it as a box cutter, probably I don't know if it's strong enough to do that. But these are blades that you'd want to use in combat. That's really what they're designed for. And as such, they're not very useful. You keep them around just in case you run into a combat situation, which is rare. But the thing is, with this having so much play in it, I would be afraid to use this in a fight. If you're going to fight with somebody, this is not the blade to have. Not to be this loose. Fun. It's a fun blade to have. But is it practical? Not practical. Is this a good blade? Could you actually use this for stuff? I would say no. Now, in researching this blade, what I found out is you can buy these things from China, these kind of clone Microtech knives, for 30, 40, 50 bucks. This one is unique, like I said. It's not really a copy. So it's different. But I could have bought this I could have bought something similar to this, like a Benchmade knife, for 30 or 40 or 50 bucks from China. So I got ripped off. I got ripped off big time by this guy who basically lied to me and said that this was a Microtech knife. It is not a Microtech knife. And I didn't know any better, because I had never seen a knife like this before. So anyway, that's my story. Anybody else trying to buy a Microtech knife, I would strongly suggest not buying a Microtech knife, simply because there's almost no way of knowing whether a Microtech knife is real or not. There's so many Chinese clones on the market, and the clones are so good that you probably can't tell the difference. The difference, though, is pretty clear. That's the difference. The difference, probably not even in the steel itself, but in the play of the knife. So I would probably love this knife and it's a very fun knife. It's a very fun knife, but it's just, the looseness of it just drives me crazy. So I don't know. I might sell it. If you want this knife, let me know. If you want to pay 180 bucks for a $40 knife, let me know, and I'll sell it to you.